the Social Security Administration says seniors and others who rely on the benefits program are likely to get an 8% boost. Yes, 8% by the end of the year because of inflation.
Cost of everything has went up, right? I mean, look at the price of your food, the price of your utilities, the cost of putting money into your cars as far as petrol. All of those things are increasing.
Financial expert Dr. Friday Burke says the COLA increase would represent the biggest cost of living adjustment since 1981.
A big and important day is here for the millions of people on Social Security beneficiaries. Senior citizens and retirees can claim extra stimulus cash and Medicare. They can finally expect to receive the money that they needed. You may receive a surprise $100 check also as well. Now retirees will get rare and much needed relief in 2023, all thanks to a combination that experts say might not ever happen again. It has a historically high cost of living adjustment for Social Security beneficiaries and a decline in the cost of Medicare Part B premiums. Last week, the Centers for Medicare Medicaid Services announced that the standard monthly premiums for Medicare Part B enrollees will be $165. That's a lot of money. It went down from $170 in 2022, the first decline in a decade. The annual deductible for all Medicare Part B beneficiaries will fall again to $226 in 2023 from $233 in 2022. These are cheaper premiums, cheaper deductibles. With all that being said, highest COLA in decades is here. According to Yahoo News, the adjustment should be 8.5% higher in 2023, up from 6% in 2022, and the biggest since 11.2% increase in 81. The Social Security Administration is expected to announce the official 2023 COLA mid-October, following the September 22 inflation numbers. Even if the 2023 COLA is on the low end of projections at 8.5%, it's going to translate even to an extra $130 or so a month for the typical beneficiary. It's based on the average monthly benefit for all recipients, which was already $1,500 as of June 2022. Retirees who claim both Social Security and Medicare can typically see their Part B premiums taken out of their Social Security checks. It would just contribute to an even higher Social Security benefit in 2023. Mary Johnson, the Social Security and Medicare policy analyst, also said that the 1-2 punch of a much higher COLA and lower Medicare Part B premium is something we may never see again for the rest of our lives. And it comes at a good time for retirees because many of whom have been hit hard by inflation and rising healthcare costs. Economists have noted that the extra money can be used to pay off credit cards, to restock pantries that have gone low because people can't afford to buy as much as today than they did a year ago. According to new research from the economists at Boston University and the Federal Reserve Bank of Atlanta, Americans are trying to get the most out of Social Security, but retirees are making a mistake that can cost them tens of thousands of dollars in lifetime benefits. Here is the mistake that you don't want to make in regards to your Social Security benefits, stimulus checks, and SSDI and SSI. Well, the mistake is this. People can claim Social Security at age 62, but the trade-off is that a 25% reduction in your monthly check is going to happen. So on the flip side, if workers want to take Social Security until they turn 70 years old, they get a 32% boost in their payments in exchange for holding off. The reality is that only 6% of U.S. workers wait until they're 70 to even claim Social Security. But researchers found that the vast majority would be better off to wait until they are old enough to get their retirement benefits. Almost half of Americans claim Social Security benefits before they even hit full retirement age, and about a quarter of them claim at age 62. Almost half Americans over 55 lack any retirement savings, which means those workers be more reliant on Social Security in their old age, and may be persuaded to claim early in order to have some steady source of income just on the side of your real stimulus cash. Now, I agree, folks. I believe that President Biden must do more for the American people and send out stimulus checks before it gets too late. Here is the most important news. Many economists are saying that the Social Security increase is not enough to help the millions of Americans that are still at risk of going to homelessness, all because of the crisis. The legislation would actually benefit many seniors that are experiencing financial hardship due to this crisis, and retirees already rejoiced with the 2023 cost of living adjustment for Social Security, which was announced in October.
Thank you very much. I'm going to turn now to someone who spent a whole lot of time on this, and thank you for your leadership and co-sponsorship of the bill. Senator Gillibrand.
Thank you. Thank you, Chairman Benham, for being here, and thank you for taking the committee through what happened here and what role the CFTC has played and could play in the future. And I want to drill down on a couple areas where I still see risks that are coming ahead. I think you've made it very clear to the committee that comprehensive legislation is necessary. Senator Lummis and I wrote a very broad bill for all committees of jurisdiction, including the Banking Committee, including the Finance Committee, including the Intelligence Committee. But what the Ag Committee has done is focused on your jurisdiction, and this bill that the chairman and ranking member have put together is quite comprehensive, and I will be very grateful for you to give us the guidance about how to improve that, as well as the framework bill that Cynthia Lummis and I put together. I'm very concerned about the issues that you've talked about today, and I'm very concerned specifically with the potential of future problems. So responsible governance is something that we've talked a lot about today, and the absence of which really contributed to the FTX's debacle, especially its foreign registered entity. So for Senator Grassley, the difference between the foreign entity and the U.S.-based entity isn't necessarily clear. So I'm on the Intelligence Committee, and so I'm very concerned about who owns and who controls our critical infrastructure, such as platforms engaging in financial exchange and custodial services. My concern is particularly acute where foreign interests may conflict with those of the United States, and of course the FTX debacle has shown bad actors, foreign and domestic, can contribute to global digital asset markets' nefarious ends, harming United States consumers. The CFTC's current rules, I understand, provide that where ownership of the CFTC licensed exchanges changes at the holding company level, as when FTX US purchased the CFTC registered Ledger X digital asset derivatives exchange last year, the registrant has to notify the CFTC of the change of control. The Commission's current rules do not require detailed information about purchasing entity or its beneficial owners, nor do the current rules allow the Commission, where appropriate, to require conditions to the transaction to manage risk or to block the sale in exceptional circumstances.
Other credits that could result in lowering your tax burden or even a large refund include the earned income, the tax credit, and the child independent care credit. The latter was made refundable in 2021, meaning up to $8,000 could get reimbursed on expenses for daycare and such, which show up on tax refunds. However, households that welcome the new family member could also be eligible for $1,400 for the third economic stimulus check. We have a lot of good news, but the fourth stimulus payment that I want you to know, so continue watching the video. President Biden is now meeting with Democrats and Republicans to finally reach an agreement on the next package. Americans are urging President Biden to sign a new executive order that would allocate billions of dollars towards a fourth round of payments. So, we have some good news. President Biden's administration is actually going to renew its push with lawmakers to secure crisis funding this week. That's according to a White House official that told CNN that following inaction from the Senate on a $10 billion funding package, it is likely a deal will be reached very soon. The White House official has said as Congress turns back to work, the Biden administration will be focused on working with lawmakers to secure funds to keep aid flowing and continue protecting the American people from the crisis. The Biden administration has been sounding the alarm for weeks that additional funding is needed to continue the federal crisis, even as it seeks return to normal. The Biden administration also requested $22.5 billion in supplemental crisis relief funding in a massive government funding package